Woo, woo. Today we're in Eastern Washington, and I'm with a bunch of my friends camping, and I hope to find the deepest snow in Washington State right now. I actually started making this video 2 years ago where I broke a truck, had to continue the trip with another truck, and we didn't even get to complete the route because the snow was so gnarly. And before we go back and watch that footage, check out a little bit of the snow that we found this time. 22 months ago, I grabbed my friends Ed and Marvin and I hit a trail called Clockham Pass. My father-in-law used to hunt this area back in the 50s and 60s, and he had told me about it many years ago. This pass was carved out as a wagon route between Ellensburg and Wenatchee and used to end at an old trading post that would supply miners with goods just north of the mountains. These days, this is a place where wheelers like to come play in the snow, and personally, I would like to make the trip from Ellensburg all the way to Wenatchee. Well, that didn't take long. I've found very deep snow here many times, but this is the first time that I've tried to go all the way up and over. And this time in particular had crazy snow drifts that were like 4 to 6 feet deep. And I'm stuck, Ed's stuck, Marvin's stuck. And then not very soon after we started and I started to get stuck, I started to get a very alarming noise out of the engine bay. The fan was hitting the steering box, which they're in the same universe, but they shouldn't be like touching, you know what I mean? And so anyway, the plan was we were going to winch it out, which we did, and then we were going to see what was going on, but the noise stopped, which was very strange, but I didn't have time for a proper diagnosis considering the fact that we were so far behind on schedule. So everything was working fine. I decided, hey, maybe something's going on with the fan, I don't know, but we'll play with it at camp. So went to camp. Had some food, I had a good night's sleep. The next day, had a peek at it. Everything looked okay from what I could tell. So I wasn't sure what was going on, but we decided to march on. And then I realized almost immediately, for some reason while I was wheeling, that the engine mounts had broken and the engine was shifting around a whole lot. And then after looking at the transmission mounts, we were hanging on by like half a transmission mount. So all these mounts have like 250,000 miles on them. And they were probably broken before this trip, but all of the going back and forth in the deep snow moved the drivetrain around quite a bit. So I called my wife. Hi, wife. Remember that conversation we had last night about me calling for help? Yeah. So here's my pitch. Shoot it down. Feel free. I mean, I haven't told you how beautiful you are yet today, but it's gorgeous. So. We nipped the edges off of the plastic fan so that the engine fan could turn and cool the engine. We turned around, went all the way back down to the bottom of Clockham Pass. I then met my wife, my very lovely wife. We swapped vehicles. Actually, excuse me, I parked the vehicle at a cabin. Then I borrowed her Gladiator for the rest of the trip. I brought my son with me.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, buddy.
You're my best friend.
You're my best friend, too. Are you excited for the trip?
Yeah.
Me, too. It was fun, but oh my God, was a lot of work. And we just spent like another day and a half just to get to the top of Clockham Pass. This was an absolute dogfight, probably the biggest snow dogfight I've ever had. And ever since then, I have wanted to be able to do this pass and go all the way over to Wenatchee. And this time, we're actually going to go start in a place that's a little bit higher, drop down into Clockham Pass, and then hit Wenatchee. Come on, girl, you got her.
That was about a quarter tank.
Replace the bad mounts with OEM ones. I put 39s on this Land Rover and it's performing outstanding. I also brought some new friends on this trip.
High speed, man, high speed.
It's crazy that that's a 4.5 liter. My engine's a 4.6 liter. And that sounds like a 4-cylinder. Oh, what the Trudeau kind of effort is that?
Oh, he's just making a runway.
There we go. There, it's getting deep there. If you're new to the channel, that used to be mine. I built it on the channel. I rescued that from a lady who taught all 3 of her boys how to drive in it. It had like 300 some odd thousand miles. Put all the whole bunch of work into it, and now Nathan bought it, and he's out having a lot of fun like every weekend with it, which is great to see. Oh, we have the first person stuck. Well, the Toyota will pull him out.
Turn your lockers on.
He doesn't have a front one in that.
What is that?
Well, it's gonna have the electronic stuff. No! 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 No!
Give it some more mustard.
You're not going anywhere, buddy. Yeah. This is my very first Yankum rope that I got in like 2019, 2018.
It looks like your first one.
Dude, it has like over 100 pulls on it easy. Do you have a hard shackle?
Yeah. My soft ones fit through it.
Yeah, but there's still, see with this one, it's actually machined so there's a soft edge all the way around the soft shackle.
This one's same.
That's not.
Yeah. Still the edge.
Yeah, but it's still like it's still a 90. That one's actually machined smooth.
Oh yeah, they just beveled the corner here. Yours has more of an angle for sure.
I mean, it'll probably go through. Like you said, you have one that'll fit if this one doesn't.
Through, yeah, for sure.
I don't usually like using soft shackles on this style receiver. They're just.
I got this one right here.
But I think that because this is such a thick soft shackle, it's not gonna be a problem.
Not gonna be a big pull either.
Not gonna be a big pull. Well, I don't know.
There's a big dip here.
It is between 2 very heavy rigs. I mean, I'm 7K. I bet he's close. Oh yeah, that's gonna be fine. That's got all the double webbing and shit in there. So I say all the time how I really like the different features that you get from the Yankum Ropes products. Look at the edges of that. Like, this is actually made for soft shackles to go through it. Plus, also, I like that you can do it this way or this way, depending on whatever your situation is. These Toe Points products are seriously superior to everybody else. First of many recoveries on this trip. Now we're just getting started. This was just like a little play area. It's like our first time seeing deep snow on this trip, so we wanted to mess around a little bit. But we have aspirations to head pretty far up. They closed down a ton of Washington trails for snowmobiles this time of year, and they make them groomed trails, and most of those are the ones that go like up past like 6,000 to 7,000 feet. But this is one of the rare cases where it's not a snowmobile trail, it's open to anybody, and we're gonna be able to get up really close to 7,000 feet if, you know, if we don't run out of skills first. I'm a nice big heavy recovery point, if that counts. Well, that's an interesting place to end up.
This is the angle Yeah, one lapse in concentration while holding the action cam out the window and you might end up like this.
This is tuber life right here.
Yeah.
So
It's certainly not bad,
Not yet.
but it could be.
Yeah,
So
if your rear keeps going down, so will you.
we're gonna hook up the winch. I think that's the safest
Sure,
move.
you want to winch it?
Yeah, I think that's the safest move.
There's lots of different recovery options out there, and I prefer in the snow to use a kinetic rope. It's just clean and fast. However, when your buddy is dangling off of the side of something like this, you know, don't drag him down it with a kinetic energy rope. just use the winch, and that's what we're doing here. We're using the winch. It's stable, it's easy, and my Land Rover is particularly good at being heavy.
Just winch, there you go.
My strategy here is I'm going to try to build up a bank on the one side here slowly and see if I can make it a little bit easier on everybody behind me. When you're cutting fresh tracks as a lead vehicle, it's your responsibility to make a track that other people can follow. So even though I might be able to just blast through this in one shot and have the rear end kick out, if my rear end kicks out and it makes it to where there's no bank on the low side, it could make it really hard for the other people behind me. You can totally tell that this snow was super powdery when it fell, just by the way it looks. But, oh boy, are we gonna keep going, girl? Woo! Don't want to dig. But because it's wet, because it's been a week or so since this went down and laid down on the ground. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and not get stuck. It makes it to where we're in a situation that we can float on top of it instead of just just burying ourselves in it and having to plow over the hood. We're able to kind of float on top a little bit better because there's a little bit more moisture in it. All right, I can tell this hill's gonna fight me. Let me back up a little bit here. But the bad news, well, good news, bad news. We came here to struggle, and I think we're gonna find it because around the next corner, we got a switchback that on Onyx looks like it's gonna be pretty steep. There we go. There we go. Come on, keep digging. Keep going. Oh yeah. Wow. I don't know how this Land Rover punches so far above its weight class. On paper, it is not this good, but we're going uphill and stuff that gets slippery as soon as you put tires on it. It crunches down, not crunch, it compresses down, gets slippery, and we are just moving forward. The weather is really starting to move in, and that always changes the vibe. I mean, we're getting pretty ledgy on the one side. The wind's starting to pick up, and as we're gaining elevation, it's starting to get more and more of like a windy whiteout type of condition. And side note, how about this Land Rover? I mean, is it just the epitome of an object in motion tends to stay in motion, or what? It's just so heavy that if you can just keep it moving, it's really good at continuing that motion, being, 7,000 plus pounds. Anyway, I am fighting gravity big time because I'm using the rear locker. It's really helping in this type of snow to have the front and rear lockers on. However, we're also off camber, so anytime the rear end gets the opportunity, it tries to drift down away from me. So it's just a lot of working the throttle, trying to toggle the rear locker on and off to try to keep to where my tracks are not such a mess for the people behind me. And here before long, we're gonna hit our first switchback.
What's the word up there, Nate?
First switchback. All right. She's climbing. Oh man. I don't know if I can make the turn though. Okay. Second attempt. Come on, girl. Get a little speed. Okay. Not bad. It's the going up and turning in the snow that's the problem here. And this kind of snow is reacting really well to lockers. I always try to avoid lockers when I can in the snow, but we're getting good traction with the lock. I'm gonna have to turn the front locker off though. I don't think I have a choice in order to be able to turn. Here we go, come on, girl. Oh man, we're getting there. And we did it. Hell yeah. Guys, I made the first switchback. We are still moving.
Well done, dude.
Thank you. From what I can see, we can continue to move forward, so go ahead and come on up. Ooh, I don't like that. Oh man, that is ugly. Okay.
About that, Nate, letting some more air out right behind you now.
10-4. I'm here. I don't know, should I tell him? Should I tell him that I'm sliding into trees? Come on, girl. The front locker on, I know you got this. Ooh, the rear's sliding. Rear's sliding, it's ugly. It's ugly. Oh boy. Well, just needed the old front locker to pull us through, I guess. Holy cow. This is getting a little dangerous. All right, girl, let's do it. We got it. We got it. We got it.
They got it best, you feel bad for you. Yeah, I started higher on the left than Magic.
Burning all the dinosaur bones on this trip, dude. Oh, it smells like I'm getting shit hot. All right, stay in low range. There we go.
Get pulled up here so Will doesn't have to stop at the bottom of that little spot there.
Oh boy. Whoa!
Settle for the win, guys.
That wind almost took my hat. So you might see channels like mine or my friend Sean from Story Till Now and think, man, those guys in the Pacific Northwest sure seem to love off-camber, sketchy snow. I don't. I love deep snow. I like challenging stuff. I like going uphill. I don't like going across hill. It's not that I hate going across hill. Every once in a while, no sweat. But we did choose a spot that is like all switchbacks, so I am going to land this drone in focus. Ooh, that wind wants to steal it. Oh boy, that was one of the sketchiest things I've ever done. I'm usually pretty comfortable catching this, but oh dude, all the wings, these are all ice now. That's all ice in there. I wonder if you can see that. Fuel is very quickly becoming a concern for me, and it's always a concern when you're a Land Rover owner of any of these V8 Land Rovers, but whenever you're breaking trail in 39s, it consumes a ton, especially at this elevation. So I am volunteering my friend Nate Mueller to break trail for a little bit, and we'll see how he does. That corner was kind of nasty to take. It was actually, that was the toughest part of the whole day, is me just breaking trail around that corner. But we got more of those corners for you, Mr. Mueller.
Can't wait.
I'm not making you do anything. If you don't want to do it, we can still rejigger right now.
No, I'm good. This is good practice for me, and I'd much rather do this with you behind me to pull me out than, you know, off by myself in Idaho. So let's go for it.
I feel like my natural role in groups like this is always like morale glue. Like I'm gluing the group together, and I'm trying to keep like a fun attitude and keep the morale up. And here's the reality. What you're seeing is not even close to how intense this is. Like, this is so narrow and so off camber in the snow. And I'm comfortable in these scenarios because I've been in them a lot, but this is not something that you just like take some visiting people from out of state and just like bloop, just plop them into it. So this is definitely an intense moment. I'm still having fun. I think the guys around me, it's one of those kinds of things where it's intense in the moment, but then it's fun when you look at it retroactively or something like that. We really lucked out with the quality of this snow though, man. It's really good. It's got a killer body to it. Like, I'm not sinking hardly at all.
I know.
I mean, our tires are, of course, but I think that once you pull some air out, oh yeah, you got air down a lot more. And I think you're gonna just start walking this. After getting them air down nice and low, the Land Cruiser was doing pretty good, but we can only go so far. Oh, there's ice buildup on my window.
Yeah, my door's already hard to open. I think we're gonna need to do some digging up there. That doesn't look very comfortable.
Well, let's keep moving then.
Yep.
We just did those trees. Aaron's right. If we get to those tree lines, it's gonna get a lot better.
We're like on the home stretch.
Uh-huh.
You want to get up to that tree?
Yep. The Disco's still doing pretty good, and this is very off camber, but I just kind of dropped all the air out of one side, so I've got like 90 pounds in one bag, 0 in the other, and it's really helping keep this stable feeling on this off camber section. And then I've got the rear locker off unless I absolutely need it, just to keep that rear end from kicking out.
I don't know how your hands are still working.
They're doing all right. They're not great. We were talking about my hands. You think you can back up straight? I probably don't need to say this, but I apologize for the audio. This is like the absolute best we could do, considering how hard the wind is just absolutely ripping through here. I mean, you couldn't put a drone up in this, nothing like that. This is all just handheld shots from the ground and just trying to do my best to document this situation. Oh boy, that front end looks unhappy.
Yeah, it feels unhappy.
Ain't no party like a snow party. Wow, look, the sun's almost coming out behind you, Aaron. You'd never know it down here. I think it's lighting up.
I think the hard stuff's gonna come down for another half hour or so.
Yeah. What's up, fella?
Hey, dude. Things have gone from a nice guy's trip to something else.
I just want to say welcome to Washington.
Yeah, it's beautiful weather. It's really nice.
If we can get to where those trees are, that's the goal. If we get there, we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it's gonna
Then
light up.
we're off the
Yeah.
road, so we we don't have this to worry about. It's still going to be deep in a fight.
Look at it opening up behind Aaron right now. Beautiful. It was white out a second ago. I love it. It's really rare that I'm in conditions where the snow's coming up. This is so cool.
It's like rocking my car.
Yeah.
Just sitting back there was like pushing the truck back and forth. It's intense. It's probably 20, 30 mile an hour wind. It's intense.
The reason this section is so bad is because it's so exposed. There's no tree cover at all. So the drifts just get out of control and make it to where, I mean, a week from now, you won't even be able to tell there was ever a road here. It's just going to be all smooth because the drift's going to go right over the top of it. So we're thinking if we can get to the next patch of trees, we're going to be in good shape because we'll be out of this exposed area and we're so close to the top of this, which is where we wanted to camp anyway. But unfortunately, after messing around a little bit more, getting him up a little bit farther, we walked a little bit farther and realized like this is almost like side-by-side narrow now. I mean, just look at this shot. This is incredibly narrow. And unfortunately, we now have to back down like 1,500 feet. If we had my small Land Rover, the little narrow one that's got the Icelandic snow tires, I would feel like we could do this because I could break trail. And even though it's not, I wouldn't be able to break it deep as these guys would need it, it would be a good starting point where I could maybe even go back and forth a couple of times to get a bank on the scary side. But that's not happening. We are tuck and tail, which I hate to do, but we're gonna tuck tail and turn around and go find a place to camp and make some food and have some fun. I hate having to turn around on these trips. I mean, I like to find our limits, and we found them, unfortunately. That's just the reality of the situation. So we backed down a very narrow, sketchy, off-camber, snowy section at night with the wind, about 1,000 feet or so, and then we got headed to camp. And honestly, we found a killer camp. You could hear the wind just ripping, but it was like going up and over our campsite pretty good. So now it's time to actually relax a little bit, hang out, eat some good food, share stories, and just unwind. Here's the cold weather camping loadout. If you watch me build the tire carrier, you know exactly why I built the shelf this way. Have something off to the side. Perhaps one day a 270 awning in order to get coverage here. This is all going to stay where it is, like the fridge slide and all that, but I'm going to be adding a shelf across the top with drawers. I don't know when we're gonna ever get to that, but it will happen. And then up here you can see I put all of my like bedding and everything up top because it's light. And I plan on doing more Molly type things in here, but so far I do have it set up in a fairly usable way that I do like, but unfortunately this is kind of a junk drawer. This is the Red Arc system. It spent all day charging off the alternator, of course, because wasn't a whole lot of sun out there. I've got 110 up in the tent and 12 volt up in the tent, and I have a little button right here for the inverter to turn the 2,000 watt inverter on and off. So when I'm sleeping up there, I've got a little a little 110 heater and a little 12 volt heater, depending on how cold the night gets, with 2 huge batteries underneath the cab. This is my friend Matthew, the Toyota World Runners.
Hey gang.
You guys have to check out his channel. It's so rad.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And as a Toyota enthusiast, I appreciate what you got here. It's so sweet, so light.
It's light. This is kind of all the things that I had left over from other builds and stuff. I picked up the bed slide on Marketplace, and this is the first time testing any of this stuff out, and it seems like it's working good so far.
Heck yeah. No, that's awesome. And then Will with Venture to Roam. Check out his channel too. He's got a couple of pretty nice rigs just like this one.
Somebody say Venture to Roam?
Oh, hey gang. Yeah. Steak and mixed veggies. If you've seen the channel before, you know this is kind of my thing. All right. Good people. Mine are. That's what steak's supposed to taste like. Morning. the old camp setup. Many of you have seen this, but it's just insulation. I'm using my 110 heater. There's a little button on the bottom, so if it like rolls over, it turns off. I don't run it all night though. I just run it whenever if I'm out with everybody and we're hanging out and I know that it's going to be getting close to bedtime, I'll come fire this up so it'll warm up the tent for like 20 minutes, half an hour. Then when I get in here, it's nice and toasty. And then I sleep without it on. I don't really need it with all this insulation. And then I just fire it up in the morning, kind of like warms my clothes up and whatnot, which, by the way, I do. I take all the clothes out of my bag and I like tuck them around the bottom seams of the insulation, and it makes a huge difference in like any sort of draftiness. So, not that this tent's very drafty anyway, but I definitely notice it just doesn't feel like the cold creeps in as easily. I don't know what we're doing today. I want more snow, but I also only have a quarter tank of fuel because I burnt a lot just driving like an idiot and breaking trail. So I think I'm gonna get out, cook some breakfast, and see what everybody else wants to do.
Hey, Nate.
Oh, hey, my Canadian neighbor.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey, neighbor. Well, the gazebo's still there.
Dude, I'm surprised, man. That wind was howling.
It was moving.
I was listening to this
Oh yeah. Me too.
all night.
Well, I throw a podcast on. I sleep really good to a podcast, so.
Yeah, there's a reason I like am still in the tent. There's like nothing good to do out there right now.
No.
What? But it's snow. It's what we came here for. It's everywhere.
Well, once I've had coffee and a feed, then I'll feel it again.
Well, I'm in a position where it's like knee to hip deep snow, and I need to figure out how I'm going to poop in this.
Get wet on the inside just from sweating.
It's good snow, man. Hard on top for how deep this is.
Seriously. Yeah, that's why I parked here. I have like a little
Is the
platform.
fire going in there yet?
No.
I want it to be.
Yeah, so
Looks like a bunch of teenagers had parties in here last night. Beer cans everywhere. Oh, yes.
Blame on Johnny.
Hella wide, bruh. Thanks for noticing. Oh, shit. Did we get that?
It's your face. Yeah, we got that.
nice.
Your face came so close.
Oh, what? No, not close. I watched it in the fire. The fire reacted to his facial hair.
But somehow he still swerved it to the
Well,
side.
everyone knows Canadians aren't flammable, so.
Also, that was your own trap that you made for yourself.
I know, I was talking about how I made a skating rink in front of my chair last night.
I think they'd know their way around snow.
No, stop! What are we doing? What are we doing?
Stay safe, man. Stay
Make
safe.
sure Sean's still going.
He's got phone in.
This time he's just belly on fire. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to go try to make it over Clockham, or you guys have? I know that Aaron's going to need to go home today.
How far are you from a fuel? Like, what's a round trip for
So
a refuel for you?
From here we could be in Kittitas. That's the closest place to get fuel that I know of. We could be in Kittitas probably an hour and 20, and then we could.
Oh, we're farther out than I thought.
Then we could come back up and over Clockham.
I have 2 gallons in a roto packs that we can put. I don't know if that gets you through half a tank or not.
2 gallons?
2 gallons.
It takes 2 gallons to start.
Yeah.
So there's another way over the top, apart from the one we tried last night, is what you're saying. The Clockham one?
Yeah.
You
Goes
just
over
got to get moving.
Well,
if that's
I
the
mean,
case.
these roads all tie together.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I just don't know the
should
area
we
we're
all
heading.
go back to gas stations? We can everybody can refuel, and then we'll start the next trip with everybody has a full tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, we could even grab some food instead of making food, which is time consuming.
Yeah.
So we went back to town. We got some fuel because of me. Everyone else didn't need fuel, but I sure did. And then we went up Clockham Pass, different route than what we were trying to do. And we figured this time of year there's not going to be near as much snow as the last time I tried to do Clockham Pass, which is why we wanted to attempt the higher route. So now we're just going to do the normal route, and much to my surprise, it was so much easier. I mean, there was still plenty of snow up there, but it was nothing like the trip we had before. So instead of taking days to get to the top, it took an hour. And then we found a big area right at the top and just played around and had fun. an absolute perfect way to put a bow on my experience with this trail. I mean, 2 years ago, this trail completely kicked my ass. And this time, you know, yeah, we showed up way earlier in the season, but I still feel like I got a W because we were able to go have fun and we found something impassable that was really challenging. But then as a group, you know, we got ourselves out of there safely. We were able to have a fun night still. And then now we're able to go overclock them and end in Wenatchee, which is just so cool to me that we're on a trail that was carved out in like the 1880s or something like that. And my tires are on the exact same trail that used to have wagons carrying goods and services over to Wenatchee. Just so cool. Huge thanks to Matthew, Nathan, my brother and my name's kind of funny, and Will, Wild Bill. I just named him. He got a nickname all of a sudden. And thank you to you for watching. This was a fun trip. We'll see you on the next one.